Thank you for your patience. It takes a little time to make sure that we're all organized. Live stream as well. Also recording it and DVD and so forth. So thank you for your patience. We start here momentarily.
Go ahead. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming today. We're so excited to have everybody here, and this is going to be a wonderful day.
Yes, we welcome you all and all the sports people that are in the surrounding areas that people are experiencing the last few days already. It's a very big event for these sports beings that can't write or publish or speak for themselves because people want to harm them. They're here from all over, everywhere in the North American continent, perhaps even from other continents. I'm not entirely sure, but there's lots of them. And they're in our home. Yesterday when I went home in the afternoon, just briefly, they were everywhere, pushing around. So they're very happy, and so are we.
They are. So we just have a few announcements to make this morning, and we're sorry we're running a little bit late, but I think everybody's okay with that. And also looks like Mother Nature had other plans than the weatherman did. So thanks for being accommodating to all of that. We need to say that we have some speakers that are not here today. Chief Golden Light Eagle was unable to make it, and as well as the Crystal Skull Explorers. So neither of them will be here, but we'll be filling up the whole day, and we'll have some additional speakers up here today as well.
Yes, right now, Jenny Marks is.
Actually, I should also introduce some folks here. We have our caterers in the back. There's some free breakfast foods that are lined up behind those petitions. And we have Debbie and Carol, which are our caterers. They're in the hallway there, and they may not be able to hear me right now. So thank them for all the wonderful feast that we'll have today. They'll have a large salad bar available with more than just salad. There'll be lots of little fixins and goodies on there. I believe that they'll be charging $15 a plate. It goes directly to the caterers. And it's, basically as much as you can pile on your plate. So, and we also have Mary Alice Nyquist here, who's operating the video, and also our assistant event coordinator. And Bill, as well, is the manager here at the facility, the Chimila Peak Learning Center. So if there's any facility type questions, he's your go-to guy here in Purple.
And myself, I'd like to thank my wife Kelly for doing a fantastic job, the more administrative end of it, because she's the computer whiz in the family, and I'm not. I work behind the scenes, but I want to thank her. She just did a marvelous job. Now, Jenny Marks here is going to play what's the song?
Sambe song, Bigfoot Welcome Song. Okay, it's for those that were here last night. It's very similar to the song that we sang at the full moon gathering, except this is the Lakota version of it. Okay, and this is Chief Golden Light Eagle, who could not be here today. This is him singing the song.
It is tradition in the Lakota way to stand when there's an honor system.
Okay, thank you.
You have to turn that mic off.
Turn that right. Where's the Stevens?
Thank you, Jenny, for that. Now I'd like to introduce Rusty Axtell, the Haida spiritually, who's here, a good friend of mine. That I've always said to him, you know, that he's tried very famous for inventing the Haida. So at any rate, Rusty here is going to give a spiritual blessing for the conference. Rusty.
Good morning. I trust every one of you had a very easy trip up here. It is going to be easy and nice on your way home with old memories. First of all, I want to thank all of those present, starting with our ancient ones, our elders, the Sasquatch people, naturally, and all of you that have made your presence available here today. We are all family, no matter where we're from. My blessings, my tribal blessings, and all of my inner blessings to your walk of life, so that they may all be pleasant and happy. My tribe from Alaska, you can say, well, how come there are people speaking here from Alaska? Well, my people have always had forest peoples in our background. Excepting that when we say forest people, we go forest people.
Yeah.
So, with that said, the Sasquatch have always been part of us. And we have a special name for them. And it's called Gagit. Say it. Gagit. Which means forest people. And all of our ancestry, it isn't a matter of belief or not. This is just the way we are. It's like when you go to kindergarten for the first day and you look around, your eyes are wide open, and your mouth is. Okay, well, anyway, we're the same way when it comes to talking about and living with Sasquatch. Even ETs. We've had many ETs in and out of our lives. And it's only getting so lately that our tribe has actually been filmed by national television about us having Sasquatch people. And we're going, oh, okay. We've lived together for years. And my tribe is called Hiada. It's hard to believe that a long time ago, when we were gifted with a language, we were given a few vocal words, hot, that's spelled X-A-T. It's men. I'm not a Sasquatch. I'm hot. And if there's two of us standing together, it's called Hada, which means two people of the same ancestry that had the same common language. Well, when you add an S to the end of that name, Hadas, it is not identification of a plural. It means we are the people. So Hadass is in. We are people. We are a nation of people that speak the same language. And so we will all carry with us the history of this gathering and take it with us wherever we go. I was introduced to Sasquatch quite by accident. A long time ago, I took in a boarder. I shouldn't say I took in. My wife invited him to come stay with us. And it was a dark, drizzly night, middle of February. And Kimoni came to live with us. I don't know how long he stayed. It didn't matter. But anyway, he stayed with us for quite some time. And in that introduction, Kimoni shared with us, oh, Sasquatch do this, Sasquatch do that. And my wife was sitting there like, Sasquatch my foot. So anyway, as time goes by, she's going, okay, that sounds reasonable. And then one time we were out at swim, had another get together. Unbeknownst to us, we were in a trailer of a friend. And my wife is sitting there, and it's like Kimoni is off to the side of me now. She's like this. She didn't say a word. She didn't tell me until we were on the road back to the ferry boat to Seattle, and she says, we had company. I said, what was it? She said, I don't know. So she explains to me that this creature, I'm going to encapsulate it. Remember Harry and the Hendersons?
Yeah.
He kind of looked like Harry. So anyway, I said, were you scared? Absolutely not. Did anything happen other than I said, no, I just did it. And when I went to look at you to see if you saw him, it was gone. Just that quick. Now, in the process of this introduction for her, she became a full-fledged, bona fide, cart-packing Sasquatch believer. So consequently, being that I was kind of born and raised in the family, and Irene is bringing this to me, as we're traveling the highways and byways, I'll kind of look at her. She knows the question I'm going to ask. You see her? About the roadway. No, not today. And then lo and behold, out of the clear blue sky, we're sitting at home watching television. Unbelievable to me. She kind of goes, you got company. Right there, the kitchen, which would be like that door back there, in comes this shimmering illusion. You could see through it, but you could see movement. Walks right in past her. And she's going, did you see that? I'm going, no. So anyway, pretty soon, there he goes again. And he goes out the same way he comes in. Well, this has happened for her many, many times. The closest realization I can have to a visitor in the living room, besides my dogs, is Orbis. And it looked like a Christmas tree in the back of the room. Flashing on and on. Not bright, but just nice orbs. That's as best as I can describe it. I want to share this with you so that in case you happen to see it, or in case you happen to see something shimmering that is out of place, you are being protected by a Sasquatch, an ancient one. Our family is coming to protect you. I have many more stories that I could tell you, but I know you're getting bored now. Okay. Well, one particular day, I have not mentioned to my fiance at that time how much I believe in the Sasquatch. We were getting ready to get married September 18th. Lo and behold, that week rolls around and we got from the southwest a kind of a murky, it wasn't a rainy, but it was kind of a drizzly southwest winds. Played that way for 3 days. My goodness sakes. Wednesday, I go to bed and I don't get to the edge of the bed before take care of me. I lay down and I said, okay, boys, I need your help. Friday, Irene and I are going to be married at 5 o'clock in Maple Valley. No. Ground positioning, insignia, there's nothing. I just told them we're going to be in Maple Valley. Well, during that time, the rain was coming from south to north, and it wasn't letting up. And I looked around and I said, what are we going to do? We're underneath the eaves of the building. She said, I don't know. Over there is the podium where we're going to have our ceremony. She says, that's where we're going to be in 10 minutes. And I looked off to the left, like this picture is here, and I could see into the clouds a bright sphere. You've seen them on television where an airplane is flying through a hurricane. You got this great big open spot with sunlight coming through. This is coming at us. And I'm going, my goodness. At 10 minutes to 5, it opened up like a bright summer day. And I've got pictures at home that prove that this looks like a bright summer day. And we got our t-shirts on. We had our ceremony, we said our vows to one another, and it wasn't but just a half a minute. And we were back underneath the eaves again, and it was blowing the other side of that storm. Well, if I didn't get the pictures, I wouldn't have the truth to tell you. But it's my story, and you do not have to pray to a creator. Do like I do. You want to talk to the Sasquatch? Hey, boys. We got to have a discussion. A labor management discussion. Well, anyway, that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, my name is Rusty Axtell, and I'm a Haida, but not a Haida. It's Hiada, is how we enunciate our spelling of our name. And we've gone to the Supreme Court and have that printed on documents that we are Hiada. So, I mean,
Thank you, Rusty. That was wonderful.
thank you.
the late 1940s, a British journalist asked Mahatma Gandhi, and I quote, "What do you think of Western civilization?" And Gandhi looked at him, and again I quote, "I think it would be a good idea." Now, the friendly ETs, the Sasquatch people, the ancient ones are saying to all of us, I think it would be a good idea. A good idea that people focused on their spirituality, that they, in a sense, grow up more. So much of the population are materialists. There's nothing wrong with a few material items, but when people make materialism, drugs, alcohol, and so on their God, then they're off on a totally different path. They've told me they want to connect with what they say light bearers, light workers. And so that's why they're coming out more and more and more. They told me this about 8 years ago. On the first week of September 1979, I had my first encounter with the Sasquatch and an ET, and they both spoke to me simultaneously, telepathically. It was the shock of my life. No fear, absolutely no fear. It's just a little confused, as that isn't how I viewed it. As an anthropologist, a social scientist that had taught anthropology and so on in the past, and I've come from a Darwinian perspective. But at the time, I was assistant director of the First Nations, the Native American Agency. I was working part-time as a hypnotherapist and had been lecturing at the Medical College of Wisconsin. So I was very ill prepared for all this psychicness 37 years ago. But it changed my life completely, and it continues to change, and I continue to grow. To date, I've documented 374 people who have had telepathic experiences with the psychic Sasquatch people. 3 of them are physicians, 1 is an attorney, 3 are college professors, and 2 are scientists, and then people from all walks of life. 17% of that figure had ET or UFO associated with their encounter. Now, as of 1981, I stopped trying to get proof. This is what scientists do. And I changed abruptly and got more firmly on the spiritual path with their guidance. All I carried was a camera at that time, and I realized that I'm intimidating them, and I didn't feel that it was necessary to try to sneak around. I'm just sometimes a little too honest and too forward with people. And I certainly didn't want to offend them. So I don't bring a camera when I go out. But over the years, I really don't need a camera or anything, because they're with me 24/7. They told me this in February of 1986. And everywhere I go, they're waiting for me, talking to me, protecting me. And it's a wonderful experience. I feel at times like an actor in a science fiction movie. The only difference is it's all for real. The other researchers, they're materialists, because that's what science demands. I'm still a social scientist, but I apply the scientific paradigm as far as it'll go. I objectively followed the evidence, and it led to a psychic Sasquatch with a UFO connection. And of course, documenting all these other people that had the same. I figured if there's any proof to come out that they will offer it. At one time, I thought I was being really brilliant, you know, and I said to one of them, hey, maybe get a tooth. And, you know, from one of your elders or from one of your children that comes out, and the DNA in there will prove that you're human. And I thought I'd get a yes or no answer, but they said something to the degree, they said, well, little brother, we know that you're not like the others, that you have an open heart, but this is not the direction we wish to go. This conversation has ended. They didn't do this rudely, it was simply letting me know that, don't bring it up again because we're not interested and we have our own ideas. And another time they said, when I try to offer something, they said, little brother, please keep in mind, it is us who is in control here, not you. Okay, that works for me at that point. So I've been doing this for 60 years now. This year is the 60th year of Sasquatch research. 37 years ago, again, started with the telepathy, the dematerialization. I've seen them dematerialize 3 times now. They've touched me 5 times. They've done all kinds of wonderful things, which I didn't realize was a part of who they were, or how powerful they were, and how kind, and how empathetic and compassionate. In February of 1987, I had a ruptured disc that it was so bad that I was in a wheelchair. I had a tremendous pain. In a scale of 1 to 10, I had a 10 and a half. And this is just laying in bed doing nothing because I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair, and when I saw several doctors, finally the neurosurgeon said, you know, if you don't have surgery, you possibly may never walk again. He says, this is the worst case. Every doctor incidentally said, this is the worst case of a ruptured disc I've ever seen in the 30 years of being a doctor. So it's strange, all the doctors said that, and neither one of them knew each other in different clinics. Because I thought if I went to a different clinic, I'd have more options. So I said to the doctor, I was sitting in a wheelchair when he said that, and I said to him, he said, look, I'll give you, I said, I don't want surgery, so forget it. It was too experimental at that time. And he said, look, I'll give you some painkillers. I'll prescribe it, but in 10 days when you're done, I guarantee you'll be here begging me to do the surgery. And I'm not sure why I said this, but I looked at him and said, doctor, you'll never see me again. And I had no idea what I was going to do. So I wheeled myself out, and my friend picked me up and took me home and put me to bed kind of thing, because I was an invalid. I was disabled. And after backpacking around the world to over 40 countries by age 25 and going on expeditions and carrying a 110-pound backpack and all that, always keeping fit, all of a sudden I was flat on my back and deeply depressed, not knowing what's going to happen in my life. The friends and neighbors were coming, bringing food, doing my laundry, and that kind of thing. Well, strange as it seems, I don't know how this happened, but some people may say it's accidental. But I was on a UFO flight line in this cottage in the Oregon Cascades. And I used to see them all the time. And I'd tell people, and they said, oh, you're probably looking at a plane. So they'd come out, and they'd see them too, and they never accused me of seeing a plane again. Now this is their low. They weren't like way, way up. They were low. Well, I started telepathing to him laying in bed because I didn't know what to do. So I'd read about that they heal people, so let's see what happens. So I telepathed all day, and at the end of the day, nothing happened. Not even an answer to say, well, you know, we'll come another day or something. So the next day, I did telepath laying there all day in horrendous pain. Again, I was getting about 4 hours sleep a night. every night, and when I saw myself in a mirror, I didn't even look like the same person. My face was cringed and with pain all the time. So at the end of the day, the second day of telepathing, I burst into tears and wept and wept. And I couldn't stand the pain anymore. I felt completely alone, lost, and I was devastated. So that evening, when I was ready to go to bed, I reached over. I was flat on my back and shut the light off. And as soon as I did, there was shuffling going on around me. And I looked around as best I could, and there were 3 little 4.5 roughly beings there in little suits. They were not the typical Greys at all, though there's some resemblance of them, but they were not. And all they said was, "We're here to heal you." And I said to them, "Thank you, God bless you." And I turned around and bang, I was out. Then somewhere along the line, I have no idea what had passed, but I heard this, something like this. And it woke me up. They were talking between each other. There was one standing beside me with a cylindrical object, and another one next to him, and another one to my left facing me. And so they were talking to each other, and somehow it leaked into my head. So I looked up at him and said, "Oh, it's only you. I love you." Well, really, what do you say to people, these beings that have come to heal me? I mean, the 2 highest forms of adulation in the universe is God bless you and I love you. Love and God are synonymous. So that's what I said. I mean, that's how I felt inside. And of course, they never asked me if I had insurance, you know. But I woke up in the morning, looked at the clock, and 10.5 hours had passed. And I didn't move a muscle. I slept so hard. No pain. I sat at the edge of the bed, praying, thanking God, and giggling most of the time. So it took a long time. Because I had no pain. I knew I could walk. I just couldn't believe it at first. So I walked to the bathroom, and when I did, I had a very short gait, not my normal gait, and I felt a pulling at the base of my spine. So I said, I'm going to stay home and rest. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm going to rest. So that night, just as I shut the light on, shuffling feet again, I turned around and they said, we have to do one more healing on you, then you'll be fine. And I said, thank you, come ahead. I woke up in the morning, I had a normal gait, no pain or anything. I mean, it was literally a miracle, a miracle. So about a little over a week went by, and I wanted to visit my friend who owned a 1,000-acre ranch. I generally would stay with him and his family for a couple days. And so I was preparing to go on a Friday night, and all of a sudden I realized I better get to the bank because I got to draw some money out. There were no ATMs back in 1987. So I quickly drove into town. It was hard to find a place to park, and I did. I started jogging down the street to the bank because it was 7 minutes to 5. I distinctly remember that. Just as I got to the edge, the bank's just across the street on the corner, one of the doctors was crossing the street, coming towards me on the other side. And I stood there and looked at him, and I said, good afternoon, doctor. And he was bald-headed, and he kept patting his head, pointing to my legs, and his mouth was moving, but nothing was coming out. And I looked at him and said, have a nice day, doctor. And I jogged back to the bank. Eventually, I moved to Tucson, Arizona, and I started working in a clinic. I'm a health consultant and master herbalist, and I managed a health store at the same time. I just loved what I was doing. Well, when I got home at night, generally it was 9, 10 o'clock. I'd be lucky if I could get home at 7 on an early night. And I never watched TV really. I was just too busy. And of course, even now for years, we don't have TV, nothing on. So I noticed it said that Henry Winkler was putting on a UFO documentary. And back in 1991, there was very few documentaries on UFOs. So I was having experiences with ETs and Sasquatch ongoing. So I wanted to see this. So I put it on my calendar to make sure I didn't make any appointments at the clinic for that evening. So at the time, I was renting a portion of Muhammad Ali's castle, which was, he had sold it to someone else, but he had around 24 acres and a tennis court and swimming pool and all that. So it's a high ceilings and so forth. Well, I shut off all the lights, and just as it was starting, I said, boy, I was glued to it, because this is my little treat after working all the time. So the commentator said, tonight we're having first quarter, we're having close encounters of the first kind, where we see the UFOs at a distance. And the second quarter will be discussing close encounters of the second kind, where there's contact. And so he went on and on and on, and finally, he said, and finally, the last quarter, we will meet the aliens. And as soon as he said that, this gigantic hand, and I'm in the dark, other than the TV, this gigantic hand grabbed me right here around the waist and I went right off to sea. Like, whoa! And I must have jumped a foot. I really needed it. And two Sasquatch were behind me laughing like crazy. And they just kept laughing, and I turned around and said, oh, it's only you guys. Come on now, you know, because they scared the pants off me, you know. But that's not, they're very serious. They have tremendous wisdom. They're very powerful beings, but they're also tricksters. And if they have a chance, they'll do that in a very, as you can see, a nice way. Now, in 2011, I published my second book, and in 2012, I discovered and was told I had a brain tumor. Well, a couple of years before, I helped someone, educated them in how to dissolve a brain tumor, and in 5.5 months, it was gone. Now, I started using the same formula, and the Sasquatch said it's not dissolving fast enough. And it is difficult, apparently, in the brain to dissolve these things. If it was in a liver or kidneys or stomach or something, it'd be a lot easier. So the ETs came and took me a few times and dissolved the tumor. So the pressure behind my eye went away right away, behind my right eye. So do these beings sound like monsters to you? The way they're being portrayed in magazines and newspapers and by the very naive mainstream Bigfoot researchers? As far as I'm concerned, the only monsters are those that are trying to harm them and trying to exploit them. They're the monsters. They haven't given them a chance. They've mislabeled them. And this is a racial issue to me, I think. I see it from a standpoint that they're discriminating against them by labeling them animals before they even have a chance to interact with it. Keep in mind, when the pioneers came here in the 1700s and 1800s, as they moved westward, and they're in every state, they've seen them in New England, all over the place back then. But whenever they stepped out to look at these new people that were not Native Americans, they had white skin, and they stood there looking at them, what do? Pull up their guns and wound them. So after a while, the word spread to all the Sasquatch tribes and the ancient ones, stay away from these white people. They're all crazy. They want to shoot everything. They want to kill us and kill everything. And they're destroying the environment. Already way back then. So that's why they stayed away from us. And as we got more people populated the continent, and more people went out hunting, they started shooting and wounding and trying to harm them. So when people say, well, why don't they just come out? Sorry, you've got the wrong attitude and you don't have the right information, because people are very aggressive towards them or with fear. And there's nothing to fear. They've saved my life a few times, and I mean that. I don't have time for it all. And my wife Kelly as well, a couple of times. Now, in my second book, I hired an editor, and she was editing and helping me organize my book, because I started my own publishing company, Comanche Spirit Publishing, with this kind of important work. And she wanted to interview them in the worst way. And she lived in Seattle. So I said, well, come out to my cabin. At the time, it was in the foothills of the Washington Cascades here, 50 miles outside of Seattle. So she pitched a tent for 3 days, and nothing happened. However, I told her every evening I would go for a speed walk and hike, and she wanted to join me. She was welcome to. So we started to hike together and on a dirt road where I was living way in the boonies. And as we walked along, she kept asking me questions. And I have a tendency to be a storyteller. I explained when I was teaching anthropology at New England College, I would give the theories and so on, and then I'd explain what I experienced, like when I did an ethnographic study amongst the Takuna Indians of Upper Amazonia and lived with them down there in Colombia. So I would, go into a little story, and that's what I did with my editor, and explaining to her with a story. She wanted to experience them in the worst way. So as we're walking along, all of a sudden, two of the ancient ones were behind me, about 6 feet or so. And even though they stayed in another dimension, they told me they were there. And my whole body started vibrating. And they, just waited, because I stopped. And I turned around and said, do you feel them? They're right here. She said, what do you mean? I said, they're right here behind us. And she looked, and I said, in another dimension. I said, don't you feel them? I was right in the middle of discussing and telling her a story to clarify something that I was saying. And I kept asking, don't you feel this and that? And finally, one of the ancient ones said, never mind us, finish the story. They listen in, they comment often. People say, some people would say, well, that isn't what Bigfoot does. They don't do. Really? What do they tell you? Well, I've never experienced it. Did you ever see one? No. Okay, then that's just your opinion. I'm giving you first-hand information backed by, at least right now, 374 people that had the same experience. Go call them a liar and see what happens. So then she asked me, she said, I go to Russia every year, and would you map dowse? Now, I'm a master dowser. I've done a lot of work for law enforcement, finding criminals and missing persons. In 1984, I found the most wanted criminal in the state of Oregon, working with the district attorney in Douglas County and the state police. They hired me to find this person because he was a vicious person, taking teenage girls and later chopping them up and stuff. So this person needed to be off the street, and he's still rotting in prison. So I use my abilities to help others. So I told her I could dowse for her if she goes to southern Siberia and goes camping and hiking. She has friends there. She stays for a good portion of the summer every year. So I said, you give me the maps and I'll tell you where they're at. And this is the Almast, which is the Russian Sasquatch type. Now, she gave me the maps, and I dowsed, and I explained to her where everything was, and I said, there's a female Almast hanging out by a portal right here, and I marked it with a red clear pen. So in a couple of weeks, she left, went to Russia, and she went by horseback and then later by boat to get to this place because it was 15 miles away on the way from where Sharon had been. The first night there, while she was camping, a female Amish, and she was by the fire, ran right through her camp. So it doesn't make any difference where they are, I can find them. But only for people who are worthy of it. I won't do it for the mainstream people. If I did, they wouldn't be there anyway. They would leave because they don't like low energy. Everything is based on vibrational frequency, and the vibrations of a person, I don't know how they do it, but they know, they absolutely know who has a higher vibration and who has a lower vibration. So they can find a person anywhere or avoid a person because of that. Now, some good friends of ours who have a lovely estate in the wilderness, a huge luxury cabin. Our friend, I won't use his name or anything, but developed liver cancer. And so I wanted to help him with my knowledge, and he wasn't interested. And he had one, and it made him so sick and everything, he said he's not going to chemo, definitely not, ever. But he still didn't want to do a program that possibly could help him. So I felt bad, and so I started praying for him every night. They're wonderful people. And then I asked the Sasquatch, would you go to and heal him? They're our friends. I said this every night. I don't pray to a Sasquatch. They don't want that. I pray to God. And then at the end, when I'm real mellow, I telepath to them. And I did this for a couple of weeks. And then I just happened to call them, and the wife answered, and we started talking. And she said, oh, he's going to go see the doctor tomorrow. And then I thought, well, the doctor will talk him into one of the programs that he doesn't like, out of desperation, most likely. But she called me back 3 days later. Not a trace of cancer in his body. It's hard for me because they create miracles and people want to kill them. And Camus, later, Sunbo will be our keynote speaker. He's here from Quebec, and he'll be discussing what Camus, the grand elder shaman, some of the information that he transcribed, which is, our book is back here, his book that we published. And all three of us, my wife Kelly, we all worked together on it. Kelly did most of the work. And he, all of a sudden one day, we were going to go up into the mountains. And Kelly and I were driving the car, and we were almost out of the valley in the beginning of the wilderness. And I looked to my left, and there was Camus walking along. This was March 6th at 5 minutes to 2 on a Sunday afternoon. And we couldn't believe it. This huge, dark, very black figure looking at us, and he was walking and swinging his hands, his arms. But when I looked, he was walking and walking and walking, and he backed up the car because we just couldn't believe it in broad daylight. He wasn't going anywhere. He was like almost on a treadmill. So this is some kind of a thing to do that, but he was moving right along, but just being stationary. And then it dematerialized. So that was special. So we spent about 3 hours up into the wilderness, and we came back down, and Kelly checked her email, and Sunbo had sent a message to say, oh, incidentally, Camus was here, and he said he's going to visit you folks sometime. You'll know it's him because he's a little over 7 feet and coal black. Well, thank you, Bo, but we already experienced him. So that was wonderful. Now, all these things started to happen in many different areas of our lives, and this place right now is filled with them. They're here. Told me they're here behind me. They always do on stage. But Kelly, my wife, and I met only because, believe it or not, Sasquatch played Cupid. And she lived in Arkansas in a tiny town, and certainly I wasn't going to Arkansas for anything, and certainly not a tiny town for me. So they hooked us up. Kelly, if you want to come up and she tells a better story than I do, but they got us together, and both of our lives have changed enormously.
Yes, it was quite incredible the way that they brought us together. I was beginning to have Sasquatch and ET experiences and trying to put them into perspective because it was mind-blowing, and although I knew I was completely sane, it was insane things happened to me. And so I looked for somebody to help put that into perspective. I was brought together with Ray Wolf on Facebook, which I feel all of my Facebook connections have just been completely divine and guided by spirit to connect with everybody. And with Ray Wolf, the first message that he sent to me before I knew who he was or where he lived or anything, sends me a message that says, "I walk with Sasquatch." And I said, "Oh, well, that's nice, don't we all?" And he goes, "No, I really have a relationship with them." And I said, "Well, tell me more. I want to know." And so conversation began, and he said, "There's this guy named Kiwoni Laxeritis. You should really check out his books and read his story." And so I wrote his name down on a little scrap piece of paper so I could go back sometime and Google it and check it out. And this piece of paper for about a week kept appearing in all these different places, in my purse, on my counter, on my dresser, and all these places that I'm pretty sure I don't remember moving that paper, but okay. I'm getting the hint now. This is a sign that I need to go ahead and look up Kiwoni Laxeritis. So I did. I looked at his website. I ordered his books because I wanted to learn everything. And as soon as I got the books, before I even really started reading, flipping through them, I saw his contact information in the back of the book. And to this day, I can't recall ever actually dialing the numbers on the phone, but I found myself with the phone ringing on the other end. And I'm kind of thinking, well, why am I even calling? What do I have to say? And he didn't answer, so I started to leave a message on his answering machine. Probably a full minute message, just explaining who I am, why I'm interested. And all of a sudden, somebody picks up and says hello, and I hung on because I was it made me nervous. And fortunately, he called me back, and so we had our first conversation. He interviewed me of sorts to determine if I was genuine, and he could tell, so we decided to stay in touch and get updated as, I'm going through this awakening process and having all this interaction. So for several months, we would talk, I don't know, maybe once every 2 weeks or so, just to check in, and he was a great mentor for me as I was going through these experiences. And then he helped me through gaining strength in my own personal life. I was in a bad place, and he just really helped to motivate me, give me strength. And eventually, a few months later, I had a dream. I call it a dream within a dream, because it was. I had a dream where I was going in the forest. I was injured and I was just looking for a place to go. I was lost. And I found a cabin and I knocked on the door and he answered. And he brought me in and cleaned up my knees or my legs that were a little scraped up and gave me a cup of tea. And I fell asleep on his couch in the dream. And then I had a dream within that dream. And it was the most beautiful, incredible in my life. I guess you might want to call it astral projection or bilocation, but we were together in the cosmos, flying through the galaxies, and he had these gigantic angel wings that he wrapped around me. And it was so significant that I had to tell him, even though it was pretty uncomfortable because it was an intimate dream and we weren't connected that way. So I felt nervous telling him, but I knew I had to. And once I did, everything opened up for me, and the Sasquatch started telling me that we're soulmates and we should be together, and we would have a beautiful life together, and we've been connected to work with each other and strengthen each other. And both of us were in complete denial. We didn't know each other. We didn't think of each other that way. As well as our circumstances were just, how in the world would that ever work? We live 2,000 miles away. There's this huge age gap between us that, you would think that, oh, how would that ever work? But we just saw through all of that, and we already knew each other's hearts because of our communication with each other. And so we decided to just slowly get to know each other. And the more and more we talked, the more and more we found love in one another. And about, 10 months later is when we finally met. He flew down to Arkansas to meet me, and literally it was love at first sight. Even though I was late picking him up at the airport. I blame the GPS. But it's been beautiful, and the Sasquatch guided us the whole way. And they would tell me of our life together, that this is even more than I could have ever imagined. And before we really got together and married and moved in together, I had a dream and a vision of this gathering, of this conference, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand that it would be anything like that. But now I do. As I've been planning the conference, I keep getting memories that, oh, this is this. In my dream it was September. In my dream it was Washington. In my dream we all sat around a fire, and all the faces that I saw were family. And now, even though I didn't recognize a single one in my dream, I recognize each and every one now. So it's a real blessing. All right. I also wanted to share a few fun stories of what's happened in our life with the Sasquatch and some of the ways that they've helped us. They've also healed me many times when I've asked. Just physical pains. It may be, symptoms of different things, emotional stress. And actually, just the other day, they helped straighten out my leg that's shorter than the other, and I don't feel like I have the limp that I had anymore. So it's excellent. Also, last year, we were digging through our storage compartment. We have a lot of books and lots of items in storage, so we were digging through there. We were probably working in there a couple hours going through things, and he brought his favorite knife with him to open up the boxes. And it was just about time to go, and I had one more box to open. And I said, well, can I see the knife? He goes, I thought you had it. And I said, no, I left it right there. And it's not there. We searched around for a while, and we figured it out. One of these other boxes, so maybe we'll find it in another year or two, So it was his favorite knife that he's had for, I don't know how long,
30 years.
30 years, so it's kind of sentimental to him. And we got home and he was saying, "Oh, I'm just, disappointed that I lost that knife. I just love it so much." And I opened up the drawer where we keep this knife all the time, and there it is. After we've just been using it for 2 hours, it disappears and manifests itself in the drawer that it belongs in. So, that's just one story, and that was George, and he was laughing hysterically. That's my guy, George. This is George here in the middle with the stick, actually. Suni to the left, George, Snowhawk, and Haloti, who Kiwani writes about in my second book. Another fun story is, I guess this was also last year, we needed to withdraw some money from the ATM. They have a thing with ATMs, don't they? But Kiwani brought the debit card up to the bank, and no matter how many times he swiped it and put things in, it wouldn't let him pull any money out. Saying insufficient, just a no-go. And so he decided, okay, well, I'll have to find another option. And he came back home, and I asked him right away, I said, "Well, where's the card?" And he goes, "Oh no, I left it in the machine." So I called the bank right away, and they said, "No, it only sits there for maybe 30 seconds, and then the machine sucks it in and, tears it up and eats it up, and you never see it again." And so they checked even, and it was not there. So we were just very, very disappointed. So we went to the grocery store together, and it came to checkout time, and so I'm digging through my wallet for my card since he lost his, and lo and behold, inside of my wallet is the card that the machine had just eaten. Yes. So that's just a couple examples of the ways that they're able to manifest things. They also leave gifts and trinkets and all kinds of things around our home, always giving messages, and it's just such a blessing to have them in our daily life. Okay, and we will go ahead into our slides now. Let me just finish with this one here. That's Nathaniel. Oops, Jeremy in the middle is our son, and that's a little rainbow kachina at the end from the Hopi. And this artwork's by Ashley Ruiz in Texas, as well as this beautiful banner here.
Okay. Yeah, I need to stop this. If you would please. I need to point things out to the audience. Okay, someone took this and gave me permission to use it. This is an ancient one. He has a beard and a human face. You can see his nose and stuff. You look, and this was in the Santa Cruz Mountains in Colorado, taken March 1992. So the person was not a researcher. His hobby was photography, and he said that there are two others that went by. So if he had a nice camera with a telephoto lens. So if he had kept his finger down, he would have gotten a whole series of shots of different creatures, and it would have been tremendous. This one here, a friend of mine was helping a man move from his home. He was 82 years old, a retired engineer, and his hobby was horticulture. And he's back in the 80s, he went on vacation to Uchar's Gardens over in Victoria on Vancouver Island. And he was taking pictures of the landscape and the different flowers and bushes and things, because horticulture was his hobby. And he took a picture, and all those years never noticed, way up in the corner, this is blown up. And the person who knew me contacted me right away and said, "Hey, this guy's got a picture, you didn't even know it." So I contacted the man, and he gave me written permission to use this. And this is a Sasquatch. You can tell by his shape and everything. And the garden was just kind of closed, and there was hardly any people there at that time when he accidentally caught this. So I think it's this is not proof of anything. It's just sharing what other people have done, and especially when both of those people had zero interest in Sasquatch and did not believe in it at the time. Now, if you look to the far right in the stream, doesn't show up as well here, but a woman in Idaho was hiking and she had a camera around her neck, and when she stepped out where the stream is, she saw the Sasquatch crossing the stream. So she quickly pulled up and snapped it, and he knew she was there, so he dematerialized. So this is one of the rarest photos in the world, caught halfway between dimensions. You can see the shape of him, how they're all often a little hunch-like, and you can see his complete outline. Now this one is a close-up, but when it's clear without so much light on, can we shut these lights off here, please? Oh, good, thank you. It helps a little, yes. So this is a close-up of the same being. So this actually is, proof of interdimensionalism. If people don't like the word psychic or interdimensional and these things that they say is unscientific, they're 100% wrong. If they don't like the word psychic, they can use the word quantum physics, because they're synonymous, they're one and the same. So people say this, if it's anything to do with psychic stuff, it's invalid and unscientific, and they're 100% wrong. In other words, they're throwing away the baby with the bathwater plus the tub. This is also proof of interdimensionalism. This photo, black and white, was taken in Australia in 1936. These are loggers taking a break sitting on a log. But to the very far left is a yowie, or a Sasquatch type from Australia. That's his knee bent. He's sitting on the log, but a little above these two men. That's his head right at the very top. You can see the white part on each side is his shoulders. This is the arm coming down over his thigh. You see that? It's not the best one, but these people didn't know. They didn't have a clue. They'd probably freak out, faint, or have a heart attack if they knew this gigantic creature was sitting right near them. But again, they had no clue. This is proof again of interdimensionalism. This is a close-up again, so you can see his forearm across the thigh and follow it up to his shoulders and stuff. You can't see the face or head very well, but I think there's no, again, I'm not trying to prove anything other than I believe, without trying, that this is proof of interdimensionalism. And I'm not trying to do it, but there it is. Okay, there are 4 interdimensional Sasquatches in this photo. This is from a woman in Arkansas where the Sasquatch was coming around all the time and she kept seeing them. So she decided she's going to get a picture. So she heard him thumping walking by on the other side of this fence. And so she ran outside and she could still hear it thumping, something walking right up to the fence by her, but there's nothing there. She took the picture anyway. And she got a 10 to 12 foot Sasquatch. You can't see it in this, but there's a head here, another head there, and a partial in the very end over there, a 4th Sasquatch that's in these other dimensions, this other dimension. So this is pretty incredible. I mean, it's important that people, again, photographs aren't the real proof, but these people who weren't trying to do anything, they were naive, as I was in the beginning, and yet wanted to share these. And because of my scientific background, I say, well, there's so many disbelievers that at least this should open their minds a bit. This is a Russian man that Dr. Igor Wood said here will be speaking about later. He had an encounter with a Yeti type in Siberia. He's a woodcutter. He's also an artist, and he drew that on birch bark. Now, the being talked with him for over an hour, I believe, but the details Igor is going to give later, and discuss things. But he asked the Sasquatch, because they were talking telepathically, which apparently, like everybody else who never experienced it before, is kind of bewildered by it all and has to realize every time you think he's answering your thoughts. So that's how it works. So he re-sketched it onto paper and everything. And this is it. A friend of ours had colored it in, and this is almost like a photograph. It's so clear. So, gee, looks a little bit like my landlord, actually. Next, they do a lot of rock piling, and this was in Oklahoma in the Coyote Wilderness by a cabin that I used to stay in. I made, I believe it was 4 or 5 trips, I think, down there in the Coyote Wilderness, and it's a totally different environment, different type of forest, more deciduous trees rather than just a few conifers, small southern pine. But I woke up one morning and just walked out by the little dirt road, and there was a pile that wasn't there the night before. So they let you know that they're there. I had many, many experiences with them. That's just wonderful. Again, time is of the essence here, and Kelly's going to be saying a few words. But anyway, this is one of their signposts that they're around. This is also interesting. This is in Pennsylvania when I was there researching all these stick structures. Now, some people say, oh, they're just tents or something that they would think. Has nothing to do with that. If you see almost like a nest and sticks all around it that looks like a lean-to, complete lean-to, that's where one might sleep for a while before moving on. But I believe, I don't know this, and none of us have asked because there's so much going on with them that, I've always forgotten, but I think it has to do with ley lines and energy points, because they work with Earth energy and the ley lines, the Sasquatch, and they're holding this planet together because of all the, we have sonar, radar, ELF, all this stuff that's polluting the planet, it's polluting animals, it's polluting us. Going to a library, you spend an hour there, you're partially fried, with extreme low frequency. So it's very dangerous stuff. So it's everywhere, it's invisible. Here's another structure there in Pennsylvania. Again, it has meaning to them, but so far it's a sort of a mystery. This is a crystal that Haloti, incidentally, the Sasquatch speak their own language, and the ancient ones speak their language, which is different. All these forest beings have different languages, just like any place else. And because they're all a people, they're all evolved people, I'll add, no matter what they look like. Even the dog-faced ones that people say that are vicious and all of these things, it's really not true. They also are very friendly and a part of the forest people that all work together. One person said, oh, I'm going to tell you, the other day in Indiana, there was a dog face, kind of a werewolf type, attacked a woman. I said, really? I said, did he kill her? Oh, no. Did he tear her arm off? Oh, no. I knew nothing happened. And I said, well, explain. And she said, well, she heard noises outside. She lived on a farm. And she went outside with a flashlight to the barn. And walking by the horse trailer that was there, she bumped into him, into a dog face one, about 7 foot tall, but he didn't know she was there, and it startled him. She bumped into him, he just pushed and turned and walked away. Because she walked into him. He labeled it an attack. He's a researcher. So, not a very good one. But this is how stories about all the crazy stuff and, get out there in the public. There's also books out by people, by a person that talks about missing persons and that they're referring to and insinuating the Sasquatch are doing that. Well, they're not. These are part of the unfriendly, the evil ETs, and they have produced a being that can kill a Sasquatch. You can believe that. My God, you can probably flip your car with one hand. I mean this. So they also will kill an ancient one or kill a dog-faced one. So these beings were genetically developed, bioengineered, to deliberately blame all this on the Sasquatch so people won't get near them. I mean this. You'll understand what I'm saying about this particular subject. It's all in Sunbow's book up here, Sasquatch Message to Humanity. It explains that in detail, and I'll rather have the book explain it. It explains it better. These are sort of glass gemstones that a woman down in Arizona contacted me a few weeks ago and asked me about them, and I said, well, I was given 7 different similar stones. She sent these to me, and some of these, and they were coming out of the ground in an area where she was experiencing Sasquatch. So she'd pick them and then bring them home. Next day she'd go and they'd be sticking up, coming out of the ground again. She says there was broken glass everywhere in this area of the desert. So she wanted my opinion, and so I looked at them and I told her, I said, the ones I have gold in the middle of them. And she said, how do you know that? And I said, well, when I was living in Tucson, I brought them to a gemologist that had a telescope, a microscope, and I paid him to evaluate this. He said, this is the strangest stones I've ever seen because they have gold inside. I don't know how anyone could ever have that. He said, but I could take it back to Los Angeles with me and cut it in half and tell you more about it. I said, no. And I said, this was given to me by a very close friend. I don't want to destroy it. So hers do not have that, but these are not gifts for her, but in a sense, indirectly they are. So what they're doing is, again, this is the power of the Sasquatch, the Gagi. They somehow are melting with their inner psychic energy these pieces of glass in the desert and turning them into, with their mind, into these stones. Incredible. So the purpose of it, I don't know. For me, the ones that they gave me were programmed for me, they told me. And they wanted me to use them in meditation, which I did. Anyway, these are the stones. This is some herbs that were given to me when I had a back problem and I was down in Texas. And Haloti was living right on the Texas-Oklahoma border. And so before I left, I was telling her how painful it was at that time. It was bothering me. And she left these for me and she said, I want you to take these. And she told me how to do it and that she picked specifically for me to help me. This is a track, not the best, but it wasn't there when we walked by in the red soil. This was in northern Texas, near Paris, in northeast Texas. Go ahead.
Which city, in which year it was, which year?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That your previous one.
Can you back up on it?
In what year? What
Oh,
year?
what year? I'm sorry. That was 2004. 2004. This is from Oregon, back in 1986, a handprint. The handprint is interesting because it does not have an opposable thumb. So it's like having 5 fingers. It gives you an idea of the size of the hand because the footprint is 17 inches long. Go ahead. Okay, the people on the property there in Texas was having their vegetables missing. And they had a big garden. When they went in to weed, they found handprints and footprints. And they said, oh my God, something's happening. These aren't the regular human ones. So they set up a trail cam, and this one was coming out of the garden. He has a conical head, and he's stepping over. He has a corn cob in his mouth, and stepping over a big fence, a barbed wire fence. And I had Dr. Kenneth Sigismund, a forensic scientist that did all of my work initially when I was interested in analyzing hair and all that. And he did this for me to put them in a form of a still picture. It's not the best, but look at the bottom one. Look at the head, the back end of the head and the long arms. And so it was, my estimation is 7 to 7.5 feet tall. This is a close-up. If you look close to the mouth, he has a very monkey face. But don't be fooled. They're more human than we are. They're about 100 times more evolved. They're very human. That is, they don't go around murdering each other. They don't start wars. They don't destroy the environment that sustains them. Yeah, they're very human, much more than us. Now, Dick Robinson, the originator of the Grizzly Adams series, and I were friends, and he had these made. He had Sasquatch experiences, and they saved his life once because they telepathically speak to him. And these are 2 feet tall. These are statuettes that are 2 feet tall. And he said these are absolutely perfect the way they are. He said these are little people. Well, he has behind these beings, they have little tails. Little tails. So anyhow, these are some of the little people. Some look different than others because there's many different races of little people. People think, oh, just one thing if there was. The forest is loaded with stuff. It's just that we're out of tune and we're too 3-dimensional. And if we shift more and broaden our consciousness, more of these beings will approach us. Now, when I was living in a teepee for 3 months in the Mount Adams wilderness, with my Comanche dog, my black lab, this hare, which I thought was hair, was found by the Forest Service right by Mount Adams there, way up in the mountains, in a place where 3 times I saw a spaceship land. And there were other people with me, one of the times. And I did, during that time, see 10 spaceships or UFOs, and I had 4 Sasquatch encounters where they came and talked to me. Now, I had this Dr. Sigismund, because he's an expert in the electron microscope. And when he put it under the microscope and put the light on it, it melted, even though it seemed like hair. And he was completely puzzled, never saw anything like it in his life. So he took it to one of his colleagues because he often was in court for the Secret Service and the FBI. So he was very credible. So he went to Chicago from Milwaukee and had it analyzed by the top textile expert in the United States, 29 years experience. He tried to match it up. It matched no cloth or textile fabric that he ever knew. And he said, I have no idea what this is. And he says, as far as I'm concerned, it's from outer space. The Dr. Sigismund never mentioned anything like that to him, just that you analyze this. So anyway, this is kind of rare and unique. Okay, this is not the best, but it's a spaceship. I asked them on a trip into the Cascades if they show themselves. And I asked the ETs, and I was in the car with a friend and went right across in front of us, but she was driving and there were trucks coming, and I didn't want to say, oh, look. And they were coming right, on the other side. And so finally I said, pull over because there's a ship right there. And she said, I can't right now. So she never saw it, and I did. About a couple hours later, they gave me this, because I said to them, I didn't have a chance to get a good look at you, and I want to get a picture. I said, come on, show yourself again, I telepathed, and this is the ship that I got. Now this is simply a fresco of an ancient one in Europe. There's hundreds of them all over Europe, Germany, England, France. They're everywhere. Why? Because the ancient ones were popular back then. I mean, in the sense that they mixed with people. This is, I don't know, 1600s, maybe 1400s. So they're everywhere. There are these things. Okay, this is a sketch. There's one in my book, but it gives you an idea of how silver-faced they are. But again, don't be fooled. They're very friendly. This is a close-up of the Patterson film of Patty, they call her. This is done by Dmitry Bayanov, a colleague of Igor's, to show how the face would look up close. This is one of the notes left by an ancient one who learned English. All of them don't know how to write, but they print. And it's Haloti. She's a shamanist. I befriended her, very good friends, and now she's up here she moved from down there up here to the Selkirk Mountains. And she says, you world, meaning your, this is the way she writes, your world not same as our world. Your time not same our time. Your space not same our space. A thin cloth hang between, she says there, but she means those places that open and shut. You're talking about a portal. There is no I or me. We are all one. Each one is part of the whole. What one does, all do. You may see us as Brother Crow or Brother Wolf. Listen to the stones, speak to the trees. They say all of these have consciousness, even rocks and stuff. They all have consciousness. They're all, in a sense, have a living matter within them. This is, I did an article, a feature article for Fate magazine in January 2015, and McDaniels was doing work for Fate magazine, and she sketched this for us on the cover. They often look very similar to this. It's an excellent sketch. In fact, she's the one that did the one, her guide that she sees all the time calls himself Dead. And if you get a $5 raffle ticket, you might take home a gorgeous painting that she did and contributed to us. So if you're interested, it's an incredible painting. This is it here more up close. People say, well, gee, they look like us. And I said, no, they don't. We look like them because they said they took their DNA to make us, but they added other, DNA stuff and so on to create us. Because they said to me, we were seated here millions of years ago, long before your people were seated. When he said that in 1985, I said, what are you talking about? I knew what he was talking about. But again, coming from a Darwinian perspective at that time, it threw me. A month later, I read Zachariah Sitchin's book, The 12th Planet, and boy, that was an eye-opener. So, this is Camus. This was a sketch by Sunbo, who will be speaking later at 1. And we saw him in person, and so has Sunbo. Gives you an idea of how they look. My wife Kelly's going to take over here. These are some other things that I think that you would enjoy.
Yeah, so here's some additional sketches. This was done by our good friend Rainbow, who lives.
They live in Utah.
Okay, they live in Utah now, but she's in communications with several different beings. This is the one that she speaks with the most, named Loki. Take the next slide. The names are cut off on here, so I'm trying to recall his name. Are you able to see it there? The name on it? Okay, well, I'm unsure of their names because it's cutting it off at the bottom. But this is another one of her friendly guides who she said is especially very happy and friendly and jovial. This is another one. I remember his name was Krona. And she says that he assists her with many different spiritual matters and teaching her different tools, shamanic type tools. And she said that while she was sketching this photo, that she actually had memories of sketching him before. So I found that interesting. This is a dog man named Ellipsis. He might look a little threatening there, but she says that he's not. She did the best that she could. But this is what they refer to as the guardians, who are protectors of Mother Earth and ley line portal areas and the different beings that might come and go. And this is one that she's in communication with as well, Rainbow. This is your one.
Yes, this one here I sketched a long time ago, back in the mid-'80s. This is an ancient one, so it gives you an idea. They have round heads. Their arms do not go down to the knees like the Sasquatch. They're in proportion to their body as ours are. And again, they have a human face and a round head. They don't have the conical head or the sagittal crest that the Sasquatch do. And of course, the Sasquatch said we're not at all affiliated with apes and monkeys and stuff. It has nothing to do with it. No more than a Japanese person has anything in common, language-wise or culture-wise, with a Chinese person. So even though you say, oh no, aren't they similar? No, just because they're similar, they're totally different language and culture. This one was. His name was Alon, and I was interacting with him in Oregon, in the Siskiyou Mountains of Oregon, and he has a very human face. And again, people say, "Well, gee, we look like him because we're from his DNA." This is one that her name was Lankel, I believe, but one that looked almost like her came to me, approached me, and suggested that we go up in the woods and make love. And I told her no at that time, and she insisted, and she said that she already has a child, and she was only about 5.5 feet tall. She was young, and I said, I'm busy right now, I'm helping someone. She said, well, it's good to help others, but I'm lonely, and I'd like you to come up on the mountain here with me. So anyway, I never did. And thinking back, maybe I should have, just for science. I've forgotten his name, but he's another ancient one. They're beautiful people, beautiful. And this again was in the Siskiyou Mountains.
Thank you. These are some of my sketches of things that I've encountered. Tomas is one that I met in Arkansas, and I only saw him visit once, and he was so beautiful I had to sketch him. But I feel his energy often, and he told me that he was from a clan that was here in Washington, assisting, and many of them were relocating to this area, and so Thomas is there for moral support more than while I was also going through my transition, ready to move to Washington. This is George, my guy. He's like my big brother, and he says that he's been with me since birth, and he's a lot of fun. He's the one that pulls all the pranks and tricks on me. And we have a lot of fun together. He laughs and he sings and he pokes me and wakes me and tickles my son's feet and all kinds of different things. So he is just a pure joy to have around. This is another sketch of Haloti, the one that Ashley Rudy's also drew in the picture, the one that Kiwani mentions in his book. Just before we were married, they came to give a blessing, and I was able to see her beautiful face, so I had to hurry up and. This is a grandmother, an ancient. She works through the Sasquatch, and she shares a soul with Suni, another guide of mine. They are the one and the same. They have reincarnated or incarnated through different lifetimes. So at one time she was a Sasquatch, and at one time she was this beautiful grandmother. And they both come to me at different times to teach their wisdom. And this is Suni, her Sasquatch self. And she feels like a mother or a grandmother. She's very comforting, and she gives the most wise and beautiful advice that I've ever heard. This is Odin. He's actually connected through Graham McSkinney, who lives in Canada, and Odin gifted Graham some of his hair, which he gave to me, and I felt very connected to him through that. But there was an instance one time where I felt very bad energy around. And so I prayed and I told it to go away. And when I opened my eyes, I saw Odin just like this, only the top half of him kind of peeking around the corner, and it'd be just a little nod to say, it's taken care of and you're welcome. Yeah. This is Stefania. She is a star person. I believe she identifies herself as being more with the Syrian race, and she is a healer. She just, her aura is purple. I neglected to color it in, but she's this glowing, beautiful purple being. Comes to me for emotional support. She's kind of my inside voice, you could say. This is Plateau, and he is, I'm not sure what race he identifies with, to be honest with you, but he is a magnificent healer in spirit, mind, and body. He's always there, working with me in different ways, and he's somebody that I call on whenever somebody else asks for some kind of healing or assistance. I'll call on Plateau, and with the person's permission, I'll often ask him to go and work with them as well. And this is Nathaniel. His story is pretty much the same. They work in different ways. Nathaniel's a little bit more etheric healing, but as you can see, he's a very friendly little fellow, and he's also lots of fun to have around. My son Jeremy also speaks about Nathaniel. Of course, he calls him, I can't even really pronounce it the way he says it, but he goes on to describe the little green man that is helping him. This is Tidal. He is a member of the Council of 12, and he came to me one time and gave a beautiful supportive message and told me that he was speaking on behalf of the Sasquatch Nation, as well as the Council of 12 and the Council of Zar, T-Z-A-R. And I never heard that word before. I had to look it up. And I learned that that word T-Z-A-R or C-Z-A-R means hairy. Yes, so he's a representative of our hairy brothers, and he's, the Council of 12 is like the founders or the elders of the Sasquatch Nation. And we're back here to our family once again. There's Nathaniel again on the left, and the rainbow Kachina on the right. Sunni George Snowhawk, which is, I didn't have another sketch of him, but he's with us all the time in our home, giving support, and as a matter of fact, he's standing right over here right now. And then Helodi at the very end.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. We want to wrap this up. Later, we'll have a panel where you could ask questions and so forth. But right now, in conclusion of all this, I'd like to quote a Zen monk that once said, and I quote, "All life in nature has a spiritual dimension and is sacred. When we honor other creatures as we do ourselves, we all evolve another step," end quote. Thank you, and God bless you all. We're having a language break, and then we're going to have Dr. Igor Botsev do his presentation. Thank you.
It is, so I think it's just personal people having problems, because it is live broadcast right now. Yeah, I think you need to maybe go through a Google, there's like a Google, I can't look at it, oh, Google Hangout. I think maybe if you don't have Google on there, you have to download that or something, but it's completely okay, I'm needed over here. Hi, everyone. Out in the lobby, Carol and Becky, our caterers, are beginning to sell their lunch tickets. So there's not a long backup for the lunch line. We ask you to please, if you're going to buy the salad bar, to go purchase your tickets now so the line is slow. And they're out in the hallway in the white coats, right? Thank you very much.
Hello. We're starting now. People would be seated. If you go to your seats, we'll begin with, in a few minutes, with Dr. Igor Bortsev. We'll start the next phase here. Thank you. Yes, we're starting with Dr. Bortsev. Return to your seats, please. Yes, we're very fortunate to have Dr. Igor Bortsev from Russia. He is the country's top expert in hominology, or the almost the Sasquatch types in Russia. He is the director of the International Society for Hominology, Center for Hominology. So right now, I'd like to welcome Dr. Igor Bortsev.
Please, my greetings to you all who are interested in this subject and also who take part in the research from our hominologists, that means the people who studied this subject, who search and research this subject, these creatures in all over the world. That's why today is 17th and 21, we have the regular meetings in Darwin Museum in Moscow to discuss all the events, what happened in this film. And next will be, in this September, it will be what is next regular session there in Darwin Museum, which is which they hosted us who studied this subject in Moscow. Now, just before starting my presentation, I want to continue what told Kevoni. Start from the first picture. What happened just 1 year ago in July 10. We went to one place close to Moscow, about 170 miles from Moscow, from Kremlin, maybe, from the center of Moscow. Yes, in northern direction to St. Petersburg, because one eyewitness brought me that this man, it is shown, well, this one on left, Mikhail Zhuravlev. During the fishing, they saw the creature, which is something from the water, not deep water. And after he whistled, this man, Mikhail, whistled, and that creature escaped. I will move here. You don't see this. All right.
It's okay.
Okay, we move that to there.
It's okay.
You're fine. Okay. And next day, his son, also Mikhail, went to the forest and found their footprints and found their teeth structures. And after he wrote me, and we come with the team to that place. We were 3 persons. The owner of the car was one young woman, Tasha Natalia, and my friend, biologist, also doctor of biology, Andrei, and me. And it was raining like now here. That is why we were sleeping. So I was sitting in the car, and that owner of the car was sitting. It's no matter. Next folder shows the place where it was. Yes, first, please. Yeah, this you just changed it. It is footprint which saw that young man, and after next comparing here is not seen very properly, but it was good. We made when we come, we made the good cast. Yes, next. In the front, in the middle, is very high, very tall. On the right, I am, and on the left, my friend Andrei. Next one. And this is his father. This is Mikhail and another Mikhail father. And there are some stick structures there. I'm showing. Yes, next. Some figures. There were a lot. I will not show the next one. Oh no. This one interesting, just line was on the underground. Such, and next. Well, here is just a moment. This car was standing here. This is Natalia, Tasha, and that is that man Mikhail. We're preparing to start tent here, and our camera game on the roof of this car. And after it is, I think now that next file, next folder, which was before? No. Yes, this one opened the second. Yes, now. This is shot by game camera. It was written time when it was made. It was 9:36. This man is going away to home, and we left there. That is our tent. It was during the night, game camera made. I was sitting in the car, and the owner woman was sitting as a driver on the driver place. And Andrei slept in his tent. At 3 o'clock, rain stopped, and I went out of the car, and come, Andre also went from the tent. I helped him to make campfire. And that woman, he changed her place and went into the tent to sleep there. Next, she was sitting just in a sleeping bag in the car, and now she's just jumping to the tent in the sleeping bag and sleeping bag. Yes, it is 3:36. It is time showing. Next, and look, this one was made 3:55. Nothing around behind this tent. Next one. It is 4. Look, one silhouette appeared there behind the tent. It is not seen now properly, but you will see it is better than next one. Here is me, and that silhouette is seen better. Next, look, this is closer. Silhouette behind our tent. He was sitting there for 1 hour, more than 1 hour, and game camera shot him, but we did not see him. We did not see. We make a camp here, walking here and there in front of the next one, for example. This one, look, Andre is going here, but that silhouette is behind that tent. The campfire was a little right, it is not seen here. Next. It is closer. This is Andre. Next. That I am here, and that is, you see, the camera is not very good, very nice, even we are not clear seeing on this view. But you see very clearly that silhouette was sitting there. And the camera was shooting every 5 minutes, 3 stills and 1 short video, 15 seconds. In some, we had 45 stills and some 12 short videos. Of course, they are not of good quality. Next. But one of our researchers next made such a picture. What he was, he improved somehow, I don't know, he used the technology, and saw the face of this creature behind the tent. Next one. And this, another shot, he saw a hand there, and also his face. After that, we tried several times to repeat the shooting, but well, no other shooting. We went there, and this year also some 3 times were visiting that place, but nothing more we received. Please, and next file, please open this 7.1 file. On this big file, number 7.1. No, go back. No, close this folder. Second one, yeah. And paranormal 4, yeah. And 7.1, yeah. And this is about that artist, Lubchenko. He's also Andre. He is a veteran of Afghan war. In Afghanistan, he was serving in 1986, like so. He came, and he is a professional artist. He went for the forest just to make, to take birch tree bark for his work, for his artwork. And he met a creature there, very big one, heavy creature. Before, I was in that place for several times since 2009, and we hold their international conference. Jeff Meldrum also participated there, and Binder Nagel, Ron Moorhead, when they were on that place, that very place where it happened. And here, this Andre went to the forest to take this bark of the birch tree, and when he met with that creature, that he understood the order, please sit down. And he sat shoulder to shoulder to this creature, shoulder to shoulder. And they discussed something with mind speaking, not by the voice. They were discussing that creature, talking about ecology, that you harm our environment, etc. We cannot live properly here. You should tell the people that they should keep the nature, they should preserve it, etc. It lasted some 40 minutes, like so. And at the same time, this artist made a picture with some pencil. And after that, then he asked, what is your name of that creature? And that answer, he asked also mind speaking. But that answered with voice. His name Taban. Later on, this artist asked one shaman, local shaman there, their shamanism in this place, practice with. And he asked, what could it mean? He said it could be two meanings. One meaning is the big food on local language. Taban is something like Turkey origin of that language. It means food. Maybe it means not found, some secret creature. And after that, this artist Andre gave him this picture showed, and Taban made the sign with his name. And that sign you can see on right. This picture. And next. And this is a picture which was made on here and written about Taban. Yes, this is it. After that, at 2 months later, appeared in the hospital because of some bad happened where he lifted big log, and it was painful after he went to the hospital. And once at night he dreamed that this Taban sent him the pictures of his wife. She called next, show next one. This is Aisun. And next, his son, Tanur, they call him Tanur. If we use again Turkey language like so, it should be Nur is something right. That means Tanur maybe big light or like something like so. This is his, and then after I requested this artist to draw the picture how they were sitting and speaking. So, and he sent me this one. Here was how they were. It was that artist next to him, very small. They were sitting so, and after that, he understood that it's necessary to go. He stood up and went. And after several steps, he just looked back. What happened? Where is that Taban? And nobody was there. He said, I even did not hear that he moves somewhere through the brushes. It would be noise. Okay. next, please, 7-4. Open the file 7-4. Here is 7-4. Yeah, open this. Once one young woman, she's 30 or something, Svetlana Titova, called me that her mother had an experience, very unusual. She met the creature on his spot, vegetable garden. Show next, please. And I went to them. This is a small piece of land with vegetables, with some berries, apples, etc. And small cabin made of wood. She's 74. She was before the teacher of mathematics, very intelligent, but she was working with berries. Next. And now she narrating how it happened. On back of her, there is some bushes of berry. She worked there doing something, and she heard some noise behind her. She turned away, turned back, and see very huge creature, a hairy one, standing there. Next one. She especially draw one picture, what she saw, and compared with the high pole, electric pole, and they're related. His height was about feet, plus minus 10 centimeters, I don't know. Yes, I will show that picture. And she said, I see there is a creature standing there. He was just bent his hands like so, and one leg was in front. He was intending to make a step and stopped. They looked each other. And after that, she said, one film started to close him from above to down. It looked like film was covering him, and it was blinking a little, that film on the sun. Yes, like something like so. And even she said, this film come to his legs, and one leg was open, all was closed, only one leg was a little. And after that, this leg also disappeared. He did not escape. She said he did not run away. He just escaped, disappeared, covered with this film. She was very scared. Gathered her things and went away from that place. I was there next. This is her drawing, what he said in calculation. He said next. I better improve this picture, and there is such a diagram, how she was seen, how yes, it is about 2.5 meters high, this wall, and that creature is calculated, it's written 2.5 to 3 meters high. And where she's standing. Next one. I was there, and she compared with my height. I showed that he was much higher than me, and that is all behind electric wall. And this fence now covered with this green plants. He was higher than this fence. Next. This is her daughter who told me about this. And next, this is just how she, it is, I think, here is some movie, but I don't think it's necessary to show you because she speaks Russian. Okay, close this one. Now, I want to say several words about me. I'm a professional Orientalist. I studied Arab countries, like so. I studied language, Arab language, Persian language. I lived in southern Yemen for 1 year and made thesis on that country, my doctorate. And after I lived 3 years, I lived in Afghanistan during our troops there. When they were, yes, that is, I'm specialist in that. But 50 years, since 1965, I studied the subject. Before, mostly in my leisure time, but last years only, this is my occupation to study this. In 2003, I established such a center, International Center of Immunology. This is our emblems of that center. Thank you. Since my beginning, in 65, I attended the expedition of Jan Kaufman on Caucasus. She's now 97, lives in Paris because she's ill, she's paralyzed, but in good mind, and she writes some articles about this subject. I started in her expedition. After that, I arranged my own expedition in 1970. I went to Azerbaijan, mountain Talish, and studied the phenomenon of braids, which they played in the horse band. Several seasons I spent for that, but could not find. I got some 40 such braids from horses, and they are made by hand, but not by the humans. And of course, by those creatures. And the local people said that they call them alarmat, alarmat, alargen, like so. Almasty is only north in North Caucasus, they call it. In Russia, they call it leshi, another man. That means forest man. Forest people, what Rusty told here, that is forest people. Our local people also call them forest people. Forest people, yes. And if to translate from their languages, leshi means forest divine even. They, before Christianity, they worship him. They respect him. But after when Christian religion came to our country, it banned cooperation with them, communication with them, and since that Christian religion proclaimed them not bad. They're bad. Force is necessary to communicate, etc., etc. But in some places, the people still continue to worship them. If they go into the forest, they always leave something, some food for him, some usually round, like apples or eggs, and they put under the birch tree or up on the tree, between the branches, and if the people do so, this creature help them in the forest. They help in the hunting, they help in the picking up mushrooms. Yes, they show. But if they don't like somebody who violates the rules, who make noise, much noise in the forest, who kills animals just for interest or break too many branches, trees, and they could punish him. They don't go him don't let them go out and close the road. Not, and they're going around, going, coming in the same place. Cannot take them. But there were some cases when, for example, bear was a danger to the person. They rescued person. He took one man and carry out from the forest after a bear attack of this in one forest in Hero region, and I know that place. And once even they tore one bear when it was attacking person. They just on his legs and torn apart because they are very huge and typical. Okay, after that, in 1971, René Hinden brought that Patterson film to our country. In America, this film was refused by the scientists, but we studied in Russia. I personally did this, and we proved that this film is genuine. The real creature was shot there. And after that, there were some skulls in Mongolia, for example. You heard about Minnesota Iceland. It is also some mysterious case. Yes, but next, my trip was to Janice Carter into Tennessee in 2004. We have read the book by Mary Green and Janice Carter about their experience, and I went there to check what happened there. I live in Janice Carter. Maybe you find that file. It is open the files. It is first physical evidences and film. Find the film, yeah. Yes, you can show this picture. Look, this picture, René Hinden after sent me that such 12 cards, photographs with some measurements. He made. This is that moment I'm sitting here when I was young. It was 1971. René Hinden and Dmitry Bayan were the next one. And this Patterson and Gimlin next. This is one frame from the film, another one. This one, this frame, it is our discovery because nobody in America saw the pay attention to this. But you see, here is its face almost in profile. And next. And I made this sculpture. Only one sculpture in my life I made. I'm not a sculptor, but I made this sculpture. And in America, they evaluate it very high because it is very close to that outlook of that picture. Next. And this comparison, how usual woman looks next by this creature. This, you see, according to when this camera was, when Patterson was running and shooting the film, his camera was shocking according to his steps. I made this graph of movement of camera. It was necessary to find what was the speed of shooting. What was not clear, and even Patterson did not remember how it was 16 per second frames or 24. I measured all 960 frames from that film. I looked from the photographic enlarger every frame and measured the changes of the some maybe some small rock or some tree there on the ground, and after I measured the next frame, what is moved, how it moved, and constructed. And according to the, I set up this diagram, scheme of the shooting site. This is mine. And even this, after it appeared in the book of Chris Murphy, Canadian one. And he thought that Renata Hindle made it, but I told him, look, it is written there, down there, in centimeters. Renata Hindle used inches, not centimeters. It is my hand written 1 centimeter, there is so and so. It is scale there. That is my, he after understood that it is my work, not Renata Hindle work. This is very example. Of course, this was work with Patterson film. Until now, we continue to communicate with MK Davis, continue to build moons doing this work also. They found some new details, but in general, first, there were Russians who proved that this film was genuine. And we attracted a lot of scientists, biomechanicists, anthropologists, artists, scholars, because they consulted me also when I made this sculpture. We started this film and come to conclude that it's genuine. Next. And this, when in 1997, we hold the international conference dedicated to 30th anniversary of the film in Moscow. Look, this was Grover Grants visited that conference, and John Green down there. And we met in Moscow. Next, John Green visited there in my apartment. I'm with John Green and Grover Grants. It was in my apartment. Unfortunately, both are Grants and Green passed away, but it was a good memory. Next. And our author, Dmitry Bayanov, issued this book. No, he wrote this book, American Bigfoot Fact and Fiction, US Evidence Verified in Russia. And I, as a publisher, published this book, printed it, and I brought several books. If you want, somebody can buy it. It is explained how we studied this film, whom we drafted there, and how we proved that this film is genuine. And even when I was in Janis Carter, oh, maybe you next. It is my daughter-in-law. I requested her. She's a professional artist. I requested her to make a portrait of Patty from this film, and she made it. Portrait. It was painted, big one. Yes, we have this portrait. Next. Okay, close this file. And next, just excuse me, physical evidence once again. No. Sorry, one back. Adjacent human. Yes. I told about braids, marker. Tennessee speak, please. Tennessee, open. Yes, it was 2004 when I visited Janis Carter in Tennessee. We received a lot of confirmation that she was right. When she was at first she made acquaintance with this creature when she was 7 years old, 1972, and after that till 39 years old, she was looking at their family. She this creature, and this picture was made also by my daughter-in-law, how she met when she was 7 years old, and her grandfather stopped that folks and make inquiry. He said, "No, don't worry, she's my granddaughter, etc." And that folks turned away and went away. You see, I calculated that at this time, Fox was 28 years old, because grandfather found him in the forest in 1947, when that Fox was a small boy, maybe a small kid, 2-3-year-old, like so. And since that, until 2011, that folks lived there in Tennessee, and Janice Carter had some acquaintance experience with him, and he died in 2011. So because of problem of lungs, yes, it happened. But he had six children, and now descendants of folks live there in Tennessee, and Janice Carter knows these places. In 2011, I visited her once again, and she showed me, please check. This is just where stage this scene with the, what is it? Not nephew, for Janice, she was niece?
Uncle.
No. For, the boy is a nephew, but niece. Yes, she is a niece of Janice. She was playing Janice when she was young, and one man put on this suit of. It was National Geographic. They brought this costume and they arranged the stage. Next. And this picture is very interesting. Maybe next one? No, I think no. Back, please. This is, once we made such a photo, Janice was standing there just in the same dress which she used when she gave to Fox garlic. And I was standing here instead of Fox on the some chair. It was even higher. After that, again, my daughter-in-law made this montage. She drew this Fox and changed my picture with this drawing. And it was a real story. She pulled out the end of his elbow, and after that sent to Warrenbach to Oregon. They studied it. You see, but Fox just was surprised, opened his eyes, but nothing told for that. Okay, next. And this shows the twisted trees. Next. And this is present. Keep it with me. It was in 2004. We folks sometimes come in the basement of that house where Janice lived. And once we came on the back of the armchair, was such a, we thought that maybe they say, no, it is not ours. That Bigfoot brought from somewhere. After that, we did not catch it. Next day when we come, this collier was on the ground. After that, I thought, I think it is a present for us. May I take it? She said, yes, okay, take it. And I took it, and I have it. Until now, I keep it as a gift of Bigfoot. Next. This, and once she said, once she met him when he was out of basement, this is the entrance of basement. And she stand there, she wanted to photograph him. He sat on here, he put on his knuckles, and very quickly on the phone, and escaped. Here is the raven on this side, and he escaped. I show this soon. Next. This was what we have. Some food put in the basement. And next. And after that, small youngster came and left the footprints there on the ground. I was ploughing this soil because it was very hard in the basement. I put with some help, some tool, and I had a little cold water. Here is a dye. Finish there, and there is no water. And this, you see, such footprints are not regular like that, because it was sticky, as she said. He was, when he was young, some 2 years old, he was skipping much because of his leg arm. It was broken, it was torn on the side. And that is why she recognized him. She said it was 5 years old at this time. And she said it was sticky because his one leg is was twisted. Next. And this, it was not very deep print, but it was seen clearly that finger, toys there. I just draw this. Go. And it is interesting. Once we went to see some hair on the plants, they wanted to find. Skeptical to this. Here is just, I thought maybe it's from somewhere, some cattle or something. I did not participate. But after I see this broken plant, and in this case, I thought, oh, something interesting will be here. And really, next one, we found such a nest just close to this broken plant. It was a nest, and we found here a lot of hairs. We gathered it and sent to the laboratory. But it is no sense to send them. They just, Dr. Faribat told, it is private, but not down in the earth. So nobody else continued to study. Next file, maybe. This is again. And let us come to our Robin, number 3. No, this is it is one more for that our grandfather taught the folks English language, even to know English language, and he spent more time in the barn with a fox, small one, but she was done in the family. Next file, next folder. Stick writing, letters, make so. We come to conclude. Look what they did. For example, this in Robin's property, they made from sticks that's hexagram. That means they are aware of esoterics. It is a very sign. Next. And this was original, and after I drew the lines. There are other pictures. Quickly change. Oh, this is in Russia, in Europe. They put signs from big trees, tree trunks. It looks like one room. That's ancient sign. Next. This is a picture sent to me by Randy Brisson from Canada. He made this picture. And I defended Randy because the skeptics were accusing him that he was a hoaxer, etc., etc. But after I went there, I visited that place, and I met with Randy Brisson and confirmed that he was right. Next. There are some pictures, some stick structures found by Brian Blunt from Canada. Next. And this is in Russia. Next. This is in Russia. Look. The star made of this big holes on the ground, in Europe. These are also some pictures. Next. What is that? Can you change? I don't remember that. Okay, you see, yes, this is Brian Glandos in Canada. She collected. I studied this phenomenon, six tracks, since 2002, that is 14 years. I have studied, I saw thousands of such pictures, but still we don't know what they mean. Sometimes some people say so and so and so, and in fact, last 2 years, they are very broad, dispersed in Great Britain, from north to the south. And there are a lot of places where they appear and they make such six structures. I call it sick writing, because they give some signs, but we don't understand. We still don't know what are they meaning. Next. Such next. But it was very funny story. Tom Cantrell found it in Oregon, but when after he went to Canada to those friends, again he received their similar shape. They do such things. Next. Oh, this is very interesting. We say it is telekinesis. They use telekinesis. What happened with this? Brian Grant sent this photo. He made one photo of this left one. After 20 or some 15 minutes, he was on the same place. Nobody came here. He saw the next picture. It's changed. Nobody caught this, but it's changed. And after that, again, it's changed. That means they influence somehow from the distance and change the picture of these sticks. The same happened here in Michigan. Just before yesterday, I was hiking there in the forest, and I met with Chuck Lietzau. He's biologist, doctor of biology. He found, maybe not here, but in other, next, this is, yes, next, in other one, I can show you. He found such thing. That was some picture of six. After not even 1 minute, not more. Again, they changed their shape. Next. That's, I talked about Tom Cantrell. The same outlook was in Canada. Please. Okay, I cannot narrate all what I studied for 50 years, 51 years now, since my beginning of doing this. Yes, it was several. These are rooms. One woman in Europe, she helped us to understand this. But they use such ancient science for communication. We compare some pictures very much look like these rooms. Next. Let us open next folder. One folder in this just a moment. The secret room. Okay, open this. No, nothing. Okay, I just want to complete my presentation to say that first in 20th century we were looking for just physical evidences of their existence, but on the age of the century we we understood that they are more clever, more intelligent than we supposed before. And we start to understand that they are humans. They are adjacent humans. In Russian language, it is very suitable, very good to change snowman, as we call it in Russian, snowman. Only change one letter and call it in Russian it is снежный человек. When we change one letter N to M, it could be смежный человек. That means adjacent man. Not snowman, but adjacent man. And in English, Bayanov offers such similarity. When we call humankind, our society, yes, our globe, humans live, but he called their community hominkind, or from hominoids, hominkind. That means parallel to us, there is a hominkind. They look like humans, but they're more clever in many fields, like paranormal activities. For example, when I was in Kazakhstan, there are some people who communicate with the help of these rooms. Yes, they do so. But also, it is fantastic. They could. What is? I read sometimes from my language. To take electricity from their stick structures. Just one man made so. He took an automobile lamp, 12 volts, and connected with two wires to top of the pyramid, stick structure, and down. And that lamp burned, gave the light. It is it contradicts to the physics. How is possible from wooden structure to receive electricity? It's not conductor. But then, as I made acquaintance with Tesla discovery, Tesla exploration, and so on. He told about this, that we can extract, I forget this word before, extract energy from space around us. No need fuel, no need gas, no need oil. We just can extract this energy from. But you see, as we say, those people who are in power, they don't like this. They made him, Tesla, die in, what is it? In power. They did not allow him to make it wider, their discoveries like so. And even there were some other concrete cases. For example, one man in Odessa, in Ukraine, he patented this discovery, and it is possible to make motor without gas, but they don't allow him. And after that, Japanese bought this patent. They made motorcycle on this principle. It cost just $2,000, but they don't allow him to produce and to sell it. And once our scientists in St. Petersburg, they also made such an automobile using this principle. They brought in Paris into exhibition, but after that one organizer come to them and said, please friends, escape from here. because somebody hunt you. They will kill you, and they escaped, and that automobile was burned. It is not known. The media don't write about this, but we know such cases. This is very, very dangerous. Now, even I now am a little afraid not to speak much about such possibilities, such things. You see, that means, to conclude this humankind is very, very important. We should find the ways to cooperate with them. In this case, we can win in the fight, in the struggle against those who now rule the world. And you do this. You see that? We should do this. This is very, very much important. And I just I want to say about Melba. She studied DNA of them, and she said that they are connected with some aliens, but nobody recognized her. Since 2012, when she proclaimed it. I tried twice to publish her article in Russian magazine, scientific magazine. No, they did not do it. They kept 3 months. After 3 months, they said, it's not in our format.
Right.
You see, they don't like it. I don't know how we shall overcome such something, but maybe some astrologers say that now the time is changed and it will be better. We can do something to win this in this field. That is all what I wanted to say. If you have questions, I'm ready to try to answer. But thank you for your attention.
We have a 1 hour break for lunch, and the people are ready back there in the kitchen. Want to get yourself something to eat. We'll return at 1:15. Thank you.
I am so interested in
I forgot to tell that this new approach I reflected some in my book, which is here for sale. It is a limited edition, just 40 copies remain, and this is why it is a little expensive. And there are a lot of color pictures there and the explanations. And if you are interested, you can. And those about Patterson Hill, one group is here, and then about so many research international. If you are interested.
Hello. There are lunch tickets to get. Currently, the lunch will be another 5 to 10 minutes. So if you could go ahead and get your lunch tickets, it will save a lot of time. Thank you.
Thank you for everybody tuning in. We're going to take a lunch break and we'll be back in a little over an hour.